In this video, I will be discussing a game between Kasparov and Karpov alongside my brother Victor Jones. This game took place in the World Championship match back in 1985. This is game 1 of a 24 game match. In this video, I'm going to discuss it with my brother Victor Jones. Kasparov has white, Karpov has black. The game began. D4, knight f6. C4, e6, we have the Nimzo Indian. Knight c3, bishop b4, knight f3. So Victor, you played the Nimzo Indian with black. What do you think of this variation?
So yeah, many options. Black can go knight e4 here.
Okay, knight e4, right?
Then queen c2, knight takes c3, bishop takes c3, bishop a5.
Oh really? I have never considered that option before. Interesting. So let's just play this and then we will go to the game. So this is what Victor's just mentioned, knight e4, queen c2. I guess maybe one option is either to go f5 to support the knight, but Victor is saying this. So yeah, I've never seen this way to actually keep the pin on this diagonal.
Yeah.
So
there's no problem. It's just white can get a big center, but he can't do too much quickly.
Oh, really interesting, because
you can go e4 here, e4 castle, bishop d3, d6. Then, I mean, if it goes e5, you can just go h6, no problem.
Oh, really? Okay, I've never seen this before. It just looks like white's got a big position. Maybe castle here, and then if we play on a little bit.
I mean,
I would take white here any day of the week.
You could go like knight d7.
Putting pressure here. Rook e1, game goes on, I guess.
Yeah, rook e1's good, I think. Probably a good.
How are we getting this bishop out? Is what, b6 or?
D takes e5 here. Yeah. And then maybe c5 here.
Okay, cool. Right, let's go back to the game. So after knight f3, Kasparov? No. After knight f3, Karpov played c5, attacking the center straight away. So knight f3, c5, and white now played g3. This is known as the Kasparov variation of the Nimzo. This was a surprise weapon at the time. Black was known to have spent about 50 minutes in the first few moves. c5, g3, have you ever faced this before, Victor?
I don't think so. I don't know what to do, but I mean, I would guess maybe b6 or something like that.
b6, okay. Right, b6 and then bishop b7 competing on the diagonal. It's like a Queen's Indian if we have that. So let's actually see that. Wasn't what happened in the game, but let's discuss this. Bishop g2, bishop b7 maybe. Castle, castle maybe. Even d5 is quite interesting. d5 take knight h4. We're actually using the diagonal. You know, the pin here. That looks pretty interesting to me.
Yeah, I don't know. I think... yeah, I mean, it's tricky. Maybe castle here.
Castle, c takes d5. Maybe it looks quite a big position for white.
I don't know.
Castle, knight f5, e4.
I think rook e8 maybe.
Rook e8, castle. Okay, cool. Right, game goes on.
Yeah,
so if we go after g3, knight e4 was played, which is what Victor mentioned at the start, combining with this really cool bishop a5 idea. Kasparov now played queen d3, forcing a decision on the knight. Now, when I see this position, Victor, first thing I'm thinking is maybe f5, you defend the knight in the center. Karpov actually went queen a5. So, what are you thinking? Were you thinking f5? Were you thinking something else?
Probably, yeah, probably just knight takes c3. I don't know what f5. What is?
Knight takes c3 and then bishop a5.
Yeah.
Ah, yeah, this is cool that you mentioned this, Victor, because this was your idea, which is a new line that you mentioned today, keeping the bishop on this diagonal. And then if it's black's move again, definitely I'm going to think of c takes d4, trying to break open the structure. Maybe white actually plays d5 and then game goes on, maybe d6 or something. So after knight e4, queen d3. I guess another option might be d5, might be f5. It's because when I look at this position, there's a knight on e4, so I want to keep it there. I want to support it with f5, just keep up the pressure. So Victor, you're saying f5 doesn't do anything. Okay, let's just play on a bit, and then we will go to the game. Bishop g2, then what? Let's say maybe castle.
Yeah,
Castle. And it looks like, I think I agree with you now, just a couple of moves later, there's going to be a decision needed to be made on the knight on e4. We got knight and queen attacking it.
Yeah.
And if you do this, I mean, this is like a Dutch, but it's a really bad Dutch. Bishop can come back to a5, you got bishop a3, maybe d5. You can open it up with e4. I mean, e4 is serious, so I would play that here. And it's just a huge position. We're going to get an advantageous pawn break in the center. It's just going to open up. So maybe, Victor, you're right.
Maybe d5 here.
d5 instead, okay.
I don't know. Then
d5?
CD. Yeah, that's... Yeah, maybe bishop just
Bishop
ignore
g2,
it.
let's say castle. Our decision probably has to be made on that knight. I wouldn't really play f5.
Yeah, it's not nice.
After castle, I mean. It's now black's move. You've got 2 pawns here.
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to do this, because maybe even bishop a3, you've got ideas here. Opening it up, it's just crashing through. So maybe this is why Karpov, the first time he ever saw this variation back in 1985, this was why he spent 50 minutes on it. Just logical moves from black, and already the position is very difficult to play. Let's go back to the game. After queen d3, black now played queen a5, actually hanging the knight on e4, but there's a combo coming up. Queen takes e4 played, now bishop takes c3 check. And in this position, bishop d2 was played. Victor, can you just tell us what is wrong with this?
Queen takes c3 check.
Exactly. You're just going to pick up the rook.
Rook.
That's why bishop d2 was needed. And then we had the trade. Take, take.
Ah.
Queen b6 is now played, attacking the pawn in the center, and queen takes b2. Let's go back to another option. Victor, you mentioned knight c6 here instead, but maybe d5.
Yeah.
And it looks like, well, where are we going to put the knight? Knight b4, knight d4, even knight e7. Just a few retreating moves. So if we go back here... Oh, by the way, I just want to show a cool trap. If knight d4, e3, f5. Queen e5, really cool tactic in this position. What do you think?
It's knight f3 check.
Yeah, knight f3 check. Or even queen d2 might be clean as well.
Oh, actually, this works out then. Well, maybe it doesn't, but knight d4, maybe that's a bit different. That's not easy.
Ah, but after e3, f5, we don't have to go queen e5, so queen d3, let's say.
But then knight f3.
Ah, okay, clean. I mean, things are coming off. King e2, let's get things off.
And then knight e5, clumsy. Well, I don't know. I don't know if black needs to take on d2, but after knight d4, maybe there's just maybe white just goes bishop g2.
When I played e3, I just wanted to show this trap. So yeah, you're right. After bishop g2, f5, we can go back to d3. We can castle. This knight is stranded. It's going to be attacked with e3 next. So yeah, just a cool trap there. Let's go back to the game.
Yeah.
Queen a5, take, bishop d2, take, queen b6. Now d takes c5 played. Queen takes b2.
I think that's better. Queen takes c5.
Queen takes c5, okay. Yeah, sure.
And
bishop,
knight b3, queen b4 check. I think white just goes bishop g2, castle. White's probably a bit better.
Yeah, you're right. So maybe in the game, Karpov actually grabbed the wrong pawn. Because according to what Victor just mentioned, if we take this pawn on c5, then, yeah, I mean, black's a little worse because he's behind the development. Look at these guys, they're not in the game at the moment. So, yeah, good point mentioned. So queen takes b2 played, rook b1, let's attack the queen. Queen goes to c3, now queen d3 played. So, Victor, what do you think of this queen exchange offer?
Yeah, I think black's pieces on the queen side are really behind development, especially the bishop. So white's it's a good swap by queen. Get rid of the most active piece.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, I agree with exactly what Victor said, because black only has one piece in the game. And it's the only active piece, the queen, so you might as well trade it off. So queen d3 played. What do you think of queen f6 or queen e5?
Yeah, I mean, queen a5 maybe is... I don't know if that's an option here, just to pin the knight.
Yeah, cool, yeah. I agree, because when I move the queen in the other way, you can actually play knight e4, so maybe just for a move,
Yeah.
you play this. Queen a5, bishop g2, castle, and then white is much better, because look at this clamp. I mean, how can black even free his position?
Yeah, it's not good.
Back to the game, queen d3 played. This has gone terribly wrong for black. It may be equal in material, but white has all his pieces out. White offers a trade. He trades black's best piece. His only piece in the game. Queen takes d3 played. Take. I've drawn in lots of arrows. Let's just talk about all of them. So firstly, pawn on c5, doing a great job clamping down on the position. Pawn on c4, controlling these squares. This bishop on g2, lining up with the rook, putting pressure on that pawn. And where could this knight go?
e4, d6.
Yeah, it's just too much. Too much pressure. White is much better. Knight a6 played by black. Good move, attacking his pawn, but white now just defends it with d4. Rook b8 played, because he can't play b6 at the moment, because take, and then the rook can take as well. Rook b8 played, trying to free the position with b6. White now goes bishop g2, and it's the endgame now, so black doesn't need to castle. So he goes king e7, planning to go rook d8, maybe go d6 as well. So king e2, both kings are in the middle. Rook d8, knight e4, coming in, b6.
b6, knight d6.
Yeah, knight d6 played. In the game, knight c7 was played. Let's have a look at b takes c5. Now, one option was to take and then play bishop b7, attacking rook and knight. But maybe this is all right for black. There's actually a better way for white to continue, because you actually can give it up and then take on d4. Take knight c5. Maybe this knight is kind of holding the position. You've got lots of pawns in the center. It's not obvious. It's not so clear how to actually get this pawn rolling. So after b takes c5, maybe there's another option. Yeah, maybe just swap rooks and then take on c5. What else are you thinking for white to increase his advantage?
Yeah, that's probably the best, actually.
Let's have a look at that. Let's say the rooks come off, and then we'll take this, and then we got this.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, bishop a6 maybe here, but you can't really get rid of that knight on d6, can you? And then knight c6. Yeah. Knight c6 maybe? But maybe, yeah, maybe just take it.
It's over.
And then rook b4.
Exactly, rook b4, rook a4. We're coming in. Black went knight c7. Now we continue with the pressure on the b file. We go rook b4, then rook b1, and then the pressure might be too much. Knight e8. So this was Karpov's idea. Knight a6, then to c7, then to e8, trying to swap off white's best piece, the knight on d6. A trade happened, and let's keep up the pressure with rook b1. It's looking terrible for black. Bishop a6 played, and let's just get out the way with king e3. d5 has just been played by black. So Victor, what do you think? How can white continue? Are you thinking of this?
Either taking is fine. Look. And then chop c takes b6.
Ah, okay, cool. And we're just coming through, I guess.
Yeah, I mean maybe bishop c4. Yeah.
It's a bit. I don't know if I want this. Even though it's pretty funny here, because after king e7 there's a trap.
Yes.
We're cool. We're in.
Rook c4.
Yeah. Always traps. So. But yeah, if we don't fall for that trap, play a move like rook a7, how are we going to get that pawn up? Instead of this, how else can white maybe try and break through? We got to go en passant. The weirdest move in chess, perhaps. In passing, c takes d6, and after rook d6, how can we?
Yeah, then you go c5.
Exactly.
Break.
Now we can see a couple of moves ago. So c5 is now a break, and we can see the pressure on the b file. And we're trying to break through. Maybe this is totally over. What do you think, Victor?
Yeah, it's better variations than the other one, because in the other variation, the pawn was on d5. The black pawn was on d5, so the bishop can go on c4. But now the black pawn is on e6, so white has more control. White's bishop is much stronger in this line.
Ah, yeah, great point mentioned by Victor. So yeah, great point. I mean, I didn't even think of that. The black pawn used to be there, then we have bishop c4. It's like a fortress or some kind of clamp on the position. But now, because Kasparov played en passant in the game, and then he went c5, there's no home for the bishop on c4. Yeah, great point. So c5 played. Let's see what happened. Rook d8, c6.
c6.
Ah, cool. So, based on your reaction, Victor, you thought that was a surprising move. c6, even better than capturing. Were you just thinking of taking?
Yeah. But I think, I didn't see the rook a4. But didn't see this rook a4 idea.
Yeah, c6. We got two ideas. Rook a4 attacking the bishop and coming here. What's the other idea?
Well, I mean, you've got c7 coming up.
Cool fork on the two rooks.
Just so unfortunate.
So yeah, c takes d6. That's why in the game he didn't actually play rook d6. Played rook c8.
All right.
So this pawn is going to drop. c5 is not possible. So a good defensive move from Karpov. So king d3 played, rook takes d6, and now we continue with the plan of rook a4.
b5, then rook b8, or rook b6. No, b5, then rook b8.
Yeah, cool. b5, only way for anything to defend the bishop. So, yeah.
Then rook b8.
Rook a b4. Sensible. Two rooks on a b file. It's just over. Bishop b7, offering a trade. White now took take a4. We have a rook ending. 2 against 1 on the queen side. This is known as a majority. Let's see how Kasparov finished it off. King e7, h4. h6, f3. Rook d5, rook c1. Let's get the c file. Rook d7, a5, let's push. e5 is not a threat, b6 is too strong.
Alright. Okay.
Actually, hang on, if e5 maybe just rook c4. Then we can go b6. Sensible.
That's the same.
a5, g5. Take, g4. h5. Kasparov's pawns are too strong. 2 versus 1 on the queen side. b6, we're coming through. Take, rook b7. Using the pressure on the 5th rank. What did white now play, Victor?
Yeah, I've seen it. But it's a great move and it holds everything. Rook d5.
Rook c5, yeah. Attacking both rook and pawn. If an exchange happens, that's over. You got 2 pawns. King d7. It's over, man. It's over. You can either go check and then here. Which is pretty funny because rook d6 is mate. All of a sudden. So you go rook d7, let's say that's it. Boom, boom, boom. Even that pawn can go now.
Gosh.
Rook c5 played. Great move by Kasparov. f5 to block that. Take. Let's get rid of the outside pass pawn. No chance for black. Take. Time to run the king in. Let's go king c4. We got king b5, king a6, king c6. Rook back to h8, king b5, rook a8. And one more move now. And then white won. Black resigned after this move. Here, one more move from white and he just resigned. Let's just put the pressure of rook c4 and that is game over. So Kasparov takes the lead, 1-0 in the match back in 1985. Let's see what happens after rook c4 because it's not over until it's over. So let's say... Okay, king d7 suggested.
Yeah, maybe d5. d5 chop, king e6, rook c5, rook c5. And then try and... Yeah,
that's better. Don't make it close. So there was another variation. If we go rook here, rook a b8, let's say check, just to show how it might have finished. If the king moves, take, in. And that might be it. b7 and we're good. We force the queening of the pawn. If you enjoyed this video format, where I bring on a guest, let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this one, why not give it a like and subscribe to the channel at the same time. If you press the bell, that means YouTube will let you know when I release a new video. Have a nice week and I'll see you later.